back to Figuring It Out. I'm your host, Rachel Lee. Before we get into today's episode, if something lands while you're listening, please make sure you're following the podcast, leave a review, or share it with someone who might need it. That's how this reaches the people it's meant for. All right. Today, I want to talk about something that I don't think gets said enough. And that is, you don't have to like yourself to love yourself. Hear that again. You don't have to like yourself to love yourself. Because I think a lot of people are waiting to feel ready, waiting to like what they see in the mirror, waiting to fix the patterns, waiting to be further along, waiting for the feeling to arrive before they give themselves anything good. And I'm here to tell you, the feeling isn't coming first. The action comes first. And the feeling follows. Here's something worth sitting with. The majority of people are not actually living their lives. They're managing them, going through the motions on autopilot, surviving instead of choosing. And here's the part that gets me. Most of them don't even know it. They think they're living. They think this is just how life is. They think the exhaustion and the overwhelm and the quiet dissatisfaction is normal because it's familiar. And familiar does feel like living when you've never known anything different. I was in that majority for a very long time. And I'll be honest with you, I'm still partly there. I know the life I want. I know where I'm going. I know the version of myself that's coming. But right now, I'm managing what I've got. And there's nothing wrong with naming that, because here's the difference between me now and me 5 years ago. I know I'm managing. I'm not pretending it's fully living, right? I'm not on autopilot calling it fine. I'm fully aware of where I am. And I'm choosing to keep moving toward where I want to be. The awareness, that's not a small thing. That's everything, actually, to me. Now let's talk about what self-love actually is, because it's not what gets sold to us. It's not a constant warm feeling. It's not waking up every day thinking, I'm amazing and I love everything about myself. That's not real. And honestly, if someone tells you they feel like that 100% of the time, I'd question it. Real self-love is not 100% of the time. Real self-love looks like you catch yourself talking shit to yourself and you stop it from going any further. That's it. That's self-love. Not never having the thought, but catching it and redirecting it. I don't hate myself anymore. I don't talk to myself the way I used to. And when I do slip into that old voice, the one that says, you're not enough, you should be doing more, I catch it faster now. I come back quicker. That's not perfection, that's practice. And practice is the job. Now, let's talk about what that job actually looks like in real life, because we hear this all the time. You can't pour from an empty cup. And it sounds good. But does anyone actually explain what filling that cup looks like? Because I think for a lot of people, it stays abstract. Like, yes, self-care, got it. Moving on. But here's what it actually means for me. If I don't move my body, I am a raving mess. I feel it throughout the day. I am bitchy, if you will. crabby, the irritability, the anger at myself, the low grade feeling of something being off. Because moving my body is not optional for me anymore. It's not a luxury, it's maintenance. It's how I keep the engine running. And I figured that out not from a book, but from noticing what happens when I don't do it. That's the real version of you can't pour from an empty cup. Not a concept, a specific thing that you specifically need. For some people, it's movement. For some people, it's quiet. For some people, it's creativity. And for some, it's connection. The cup looks different for everyone, but here's what's universal. If you don't know what fills your cup, you're going to keep running on empty and calling it strength. And newsflash, that's not strength. That's just a really convincing performance. And I know that because I was performing for a long time. Let me tell you about a moment I stopped and took myself out to dinner for the first time. February 2023, I sat at a table, ate a meal alone. 5 years ago, I never would have done that. Not because I didn't want to go to that restaurant, but because I didn't think I was worth showing up for alone. And I didn't want to be that weird lady eating by myself. Like I needed someone else there to justify the meal, to justify taking up space at a table, to justify being somewhere nice. And that first dinner alone was uncomfortable. I won't pretend it wasn't, but I did it. And then I did it again and again. And now it's not even a thing. I go to dinner alone if I want, or if my son doesn't want to go with me. But, I now have found myself in being alone, and I'm actually okay now. I walk around places that I love, and I feel the energy of a life I'm building. I make sure my nails are done. I wear the outfit that matches the energy of who I actually am. Not who I used to be, who I actually am. That's what taking care of yourself as a job looks like. Not grand gestures, not spa days, just I matter enough to show up for myself, even when no one else is watching. And here's where it all connects. All of it. The self-love, the empty cup, the dinner alone, the workout, loving yourself like it's your job. Because it all comes back to one question. Can I count on me? Because if I don't take care of myself, I'm no good to my kids. I'm no good to my clients. I'm no good to anyone I'm trying to show up for. Not because I'm not trying, but because I'm running on empty and calling it giving. And when I skip the workout I said I do, when I don't keep the promise I made to myself, something shifts inside me. Not dramatically, but I can feel it. I trust myself a little less. A little proof that I can't count on me. And that's the pattern that is worth breaking, because self-trust isn't built in big moments. It's built in the small ones. The Tuesday morning when you didn't feel like it and you did it anyway. For you, not for anyone else. Just because you said you would. That's where self-love actually lives. Not in the feeling, in the follow-through. And here's something I want you to sit with. Taking care of yourself isn't just about what you do going forward. It's about recognizing what you've already done. Look back at the hard times in your life. Every single one of them, you cried yourself to sleep and you woke up. You put one foot in front of the other when you had every reason not to. You kept going when nobody was watching. And yes, people showed up along the way. And that mattered because it's a blessing when someone does. But at the end of every hard day, you were there. You have always been there for yourself. You just forgot because you were so busy looking outside, waiting for someone else to show up, that you stopped counting yourself as the one who already had. And I do this too. I forget to acknowledge what I've already made it through. I forget to be proud of what I've already built. I skip past the wins because there's always something next. But that's not self-love. Self-love is stopping long enough to say, hey, I've been through some shit and I am still here. And that counts. That has always counted. So before we wrap up, I want to leave you with this. You don't have to love yourself fully right now. You don't even have to like everything you see. You don't have to have it all figured out. But here's what I want you to try this week. Notice when you're talking shit to yourself and just stop. Stop it. Just that. One redirect. One moment of, actually, that's not true. That's the beginning. Not the whole journey, just the beginning. Because nothing changes until you start treating yourself like you're someone worth showing up for. Not perfectly, not dramatically, just honestly. And if you're someone who knows they're managing their life right now, but is ready to start actually choosing it, my coaching container is open. You can find me on Instagram or TikTok at Figuring It Out with Rachel. Well, that's all I got for you today. So if this episode resonated, make sure you're following the podcast, leave a review, comment, or just share it with someone who needed to hear that they don't have to like themselves first. I'm Rachel Lee. I'll see you next week as we keep figuring it out.